Hi YouTube, I am filming in portrait mode because this project is going to be better served in portrait mode because of what's at stake. Our hot boiler heater system, we have two of them, one like 3 times this size that heats up the majority of the house, and this heats up an addition which is just 2 bedrooms on what we call the west wing. And so the 2 bedrooms were actually pretty cold. And yes, it's been like -14, -3, 0 degrees, up to 20 degrees in the last few days. But in our bedrooms that are heated by this guy, it was barely getting 65 and then down to 60 degrees at night, which is super cold. And my wife was not happy. So some basic troubleshooting, I found out that our circulating pump, which is this guy here, the Grandfaz 15-42F unit, was not working. I could feel it and it wasn't vibrating. It wasn't making any noises at all. You could put a stethoscope up to it, which I didn't, and I could just tell that it was not spinning at all. So it wasn't recirculating the hot water to the rest of the zones, which is our 2 bedrooms upstairs. So if my kids are watching this, again, this is probably more for them so they know what's going on here. But this water boiler, of course, is super duper old. Just some quick anatomy here. Behind here, there's this valve, this gold valve here. That counterclockwise will let more water in. And when you let more water in, it will make that little red needle on the top there move, because it will let more water into the boiler. And according to a lot of the YouTube experts, you want it between 10 and 12 psi. I'm running at about 20 because my uncle swears that's where it should be. He wants it between 20 and 30. Don't know why. Apparently from my YouTube friends online, they say once it hits 30, it's going to trigger a relief valve opening up over here, which this is the relief valve will open, and water is going to start spraying down here. So this is the purge valve, boys, and I believe these are the 2 zones up there, 3 zones, and this is, I believe, the shutoff from the tank. It comes out of the tank. It's hard to see over there, but it comes out of the tank. And the on and off switch is here. So before you guys do anything to this unit, please turn this off. And so just a quick tutorial of what we did, or I did. My uncle was over watching me. He has a lot of experience with boilers. He owns a bunch of rental properties and he does all the servicing himself. So this is the new unit that we had to put in. But in order to do this, you hook up a hose here, and to save some water upstairs, we close this guy by turning it clockwise. So we close this guy, hoping to save the water up there. Put a hose down here, and then we open this valve, and the pressure dropped. It started dropping, not super rapidly, but it took about maybe 15 to 20 minutes till there was nothing coming out of the garden hose. And yes, boys, you would take the garden hose and put it by the laundry tub at the other side of the room, which is over here. There's a drain under there, and this water is about 145, 150 degrees, and it's not hot enough to melt the tubing, so I was able to handle it, so don't worry about that. You can hear the furnace is still, the boiler is still turning back on there. So after we drained it, I unbolted these bolts here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. They were really rusted, and fortunately it was still intact, and so I was still able to get those bolts off, threw them away, went to the hardware store, bought these grade 8 bolts, which the young man said they should do the job, and so far so good. It's doing the job. The wiring harness is underneath here, and you can access it by unscrewing a Phillips screw on the back of this black shield. You will see the wiring. There's 2 wire nuts in there, quite simple. Untwist those, and then the wire will come out. It'll be free. You pull that away, disconnect these guys, put a bucket underneath here to catch the remaining water that's somewhere in here. There will be some. and slide this out, which is the old guy here. You have to pay attention to the arrow. So this is the arrow here, and you'll see this was pointing down. Our machine points up. Okay, so our machine, the arrow has to point up. So that's what we did with this unit. You can kind of see where the arrow, oh boy, it's hard to see back here. You can kind of see it there. The triangle's going up. So it's pointing up. And I chose this unit because there was a YouTuber that I watched his review. Sorry, I don't remember who you are. And he really liked this unit. And it cost about $70 more than the Grundfos replacement, which was a 15-48. This one's discontinued, so I couldn't buy the same one anymore. So its replacement was like 130 bucks. This was 200. Supposed to be more the most efficient unit out there, and so I bought it, and it fit just perfectly. When you do buy this, I wasn't sure if it was going to work, but let's see here. There you go. The box actually, sorry, it's upside down. The box actually shows you a comparison of all, like, these 5 different brands, that they're all interchangeable, and so that's how I knew that it would fit. But yeah, that being said, super proud. The whole project took about maybe an hour and a half tops from beginning to end. The draining took about, like I said, 15 to 30 minutes. And now, before I tackled this, I seriously did not want to do it because I was scared. I see all these knobs and valves, and I was like freaking out just a little bit. But I said, you know, let's hire someone. And I called this place in town who really tried to scam me hard. I had already diagnosed it. I know that that's all you got to do is to replace that. I watched numerous YouTube videos, so I knew what was involved. First guy came out, and he was dinking around for about 15-20 minutes. Went out to his truck to do a estimate. I did question him, why did you have to go to your truck to do the estimate? You could just did it here. It's negative 12 degrees out. He's like, oh, I needed to be in my truck to do it. What the hell? Came back, he wanted $3,000, guys. So this is a $3,000 project to swap this out. Okay. I did call a second guy after that, and second guy came out. He was a slightly more reasonable. He says between $600 and $900 because it's going to take hours and hours to drain the boiler. Yeah. Well, remember, the first guy, he also said it's going to take him all day to do the job. Okay, so a first-timer like myself, my uncle watched it over my shoulders. We did it in about, like I said, an hour and a half. That includes us going upstairs, venting the baseboards, and checking for air, making sure the rooms were getting warm, yada, yada, yada. That was like the other half hour. The other hour was just down here putting this guy together. But anyhow, second guy said, yeah, it's going to take him about 3 hours to drain this. That's why it's going to cost $600 to $900. He charges $300 an hour. Plus parts, he says that this pump here, this Grundfos, which again, these guys must think that we're really stupid because he told me I was going to cost between $500 to $700. And I said, well, you know, I can buy that online, the new replacement, for $159.99 at some plumbing supply warehouse with free shipping. And he was shocked. He's like, oh, well then you might as well just buy that. But I'll call my suppliers around town. So anyways, that's what he was going to do. But again, maybe he was out to scam me. Maybe he was not. But again, the high efficiency taco unit, $190 at Menards. The Grundfos unit, $129.99 at Menards, sitting on the shelf with another 3 different brands that I could have bought to put in it. So I love it. So if you have any comments for me, or if you can help me with some of the valves and whatever, if you have comments to help me in case I'm wrong here, that would be really much appreciated. So yeah, thank you guys. Hopefully you learned something. Thanks.